Welcome to Watching Wyrd, the podcast that takes you on a wild ride through movies that are gloriously unsettling, mind-bendingly strange, and some that will make you even question reality itself. I'm your host, Hadley Thorne, and joining me are Alan Gamboa, the master of the macabre and weaver of chilling tales, Scott Baker, who's always armed with a scalpel of wit and a microscope of analysis, also known as the Sultan of Science Fiction and the decoder of dystopian dreamscapes, and finally, the king of the zombie apocalypse survival fiction genre, the champion of undead narratives, is the one, the only, Rich Rasucci. And of course, I'm your guide, Hadley Thorne, founder of the Weird Realities Network, here to lead you through tonight's fantastical Weirdverse. These films will transport you, they may terrify you, but they will forever change you. So grab your Coke, your popcorn, and get those tinfoil hats, because it's about to get wonderfully weird. Happy Thursday.
Hadley, on that,
Happy Thursday.
Hey, on that intro, I thought you were going to call Rich the Ayatollah of rock and roll with all that.
I might do that next time. You never know.
Mike Lewis. His name is already here. Mike Lewis.
At least she didn't
Lewis.
introduce me like they introduced the unknown comic, the Duke of Dunda, the Prince of Puns.
We need to get you a Sultan hat for sure. I'm calling Mike Lewis from now on. He's 001.
001.
He is our first subscriber to support us. I should say our patron. He is 001. It's his Weird Kid card.
So is Landon?
Thank you, Mike Lewis. We appreciate you.
Is Landon number
Landon's
2?
002. Yeah,
I want
002.
I want 0069 licensed to.
If we get 69 subscribers, you can be the honorary 0069. So.
Evening, everybody.
Hi, for those of you that want to know, Fred's causing trouble with the cat right behind me.
I've already seen Fred.
Typical
My
Fred.
friend watched the other night, Scott, and she said, that little dog's like a shark.
God, he is.
Well, you need to give him a chair, Scott, next to you and the mic.
You know, I've been thinking about doing that, getting like a platform so he can come up here. You can see his butt going over there.
There you go.
All right. Well, welcome,
Hey,
Craig.
everybody.
Welcome, Alan. Welcome, Atlanta, Max. It's good to see everybody.
Place is hopping.
Wow. Good group. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Landa, happy birthday.
But Raphael and Ashwell is here. Oh, yeah, of course he shows up. Yeah.
Right.
No, we're calling you number 002. 002.
002.
I'm sorry, I forgot to put the zeros in front. I'm not into that secret agent stuff like Scott is. 0069, Scott.
Yeah. Nice.
You can say that as many times. That and Snatch. Hadley, tell them the good news about subscriber wise.
We have reached 500 subscribers on YouTube. Thanks to my friend Nettie Wade. Her husband, it was our 500th subscriber tonight. She called to say, well, how are those subscriptions going? And I said, well, we need one more to reach 500. And she yelled at her husband to subscribe. So.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for people who are interested, Nettie is one of the people that are doing the show on Sunday with us about hypnosis. She's a hypnotherapist and pretty fascinating stuff there.
Oh, wow.
Did you see what Ash said?
Yeah.
What we need to do is get her on here and hypnotize people to subscribe. More people. That's what we do.
We're not stopping there.
When we hit 1,000,
is there movies like that?
Rich, Alan, and I will do the full Monty.
Wait, what? What just happened?
Did he? No.
When we hit 1,000 subscribers,
let's get started. All right, kids. I am so excited to talk about these movies. Are y'all ready to hit the road and rumble?
We are ready to rumble. Yes, we are. There's the finger.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
Doom, doom, doom.
Who's going?
What do we got?
We should probably start with Mad Max, Fury Road.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go with Fury Road because that's the way it came out,
Should
right?
we start with that, or should, because isn't Furiosa the
Oh, that's
precursor to it?
Okay, we'll start with
Yeah, Furiosa was actually written before Fury Road.
So
But they made
I
Fury
have a
Road.
tidbit of information. You know, this movie was supposed to be made in 2000.
Which one? Furiosa? Oh,
And starring Sigourney Weaver as Furiosa.
Wow, I had not heard that.
the only thing I would say about that is too young.
I think it must have been Fury Road, because I think it was when they were still having Mel Gibson as Mad Max and her as Furiosa. So I think that's what it was. So, I don't know. It's been so long since 2000. I can't remember. Anyway, let's talk about Furiosa first and go from there.
Okay.
Who's got
We'll
it?
go Furiosa. I got Furiosa. Budget $150 million worldwide. It's made $380 million, which it's considered a flop, which is sad because it put the kibosh on maybe a future Tom Hardy Mad Max movie, which is what I would really love to see. But we'll get into Furiosa. Furiosa is a Mad Max saga. After several world wars, apparently the last one, nuclear, the land down under is more of a wasteland than it usually is. Maybe it's just Australia. We don't know if it's not, if Australia is the only place that's devastated, right? Because they never go out into the world view. So it could be Australia, where the rest of us are just going, screw those guys. You let them deal with it,
Kangaroo eaters.
The story takes place, huh?
I said kangaroo eaters.
I was just going to say,
There-
just
yeah.
put the Outback.
There you go. The story takes place in the timeline after Thunderdome. So it's sometime after Thunderdome. The storyline with Mad Max, all the story of it's really fluid. It's Miller himself says they're some of them are like histories, some of them are like tales. Mad Max is more of a myth than a real person in Mad Max's worldview of, George Miller's worldview of Mad Max. Anyway, young Furiosa, played by a great young actress named Alaya Brown. I think that's her name. She's kidnapped by the gang leader, wannabe wasteland messiah Dementus, played by Thor himself, with a fake nose, Chris Hemsworth. And if you'll notice at times, he looks like he's wearing his Thor costume. He's got the cape, and his vest thing is blue. So it kind of looks like Thor sometimes, if you really pay attention to it. Dementus lives up to his name as a demented leader who really can't lead. He really can't pull. He wants to pull these gangs together. They follow him because off chance that he'll share everything with them, which he promises, but he doesn't. He's just this crazy dude that wants to be in charge. There's a lot of cool action that happens during Furiosa's kidnapping, with Furiosa's mother trying to rescue her and not disclose the location, the green place, the place of all the mothers. They're called the Vivali, is the people, I believe, the Vivali, something like that, where she's from. And I really think the scene where the mom's trying to rescue Furiosa is very cool. When she takes that broken down motorcycle, puts the wheel on it and everything. I thought that was cool. That was great. So Dementus takes an odd liking to Furiosa, hinting that he lost his family during this apocalypse. He even has this kid's teddy bear that he lets Furiosa hold, and he calls her Little D for Little Dementus. Dementus eventually uses a growing gang of bikers to take over Gastown and control the gasoline. That is when the Citadel and Immortan Joe come into the picture, setting the wheels of Fury Road in motion. So Furiosa moves on in time, and now she's played by Anya Taylor-Joy from The Menu and was it Queen's Gambit? She's now the older Furiosa, determined to find her way back to the Green Place and get revenge on Dementus. Tom Burke from CB Strike and BBC's Three Musketeers, love both those shows, shows up as Praetorian Jack. He's a driver of the war rig, like in Fury Road. It's hinted that his parents might have been the Bronze, or he might have been a bronze because he's got the Mad Max jacket,
Yeah.
you know, the whole Mad Max get up. So it's hinted, but you never really know. He comes to help Furiosa, and the relationship on that's the one thing I didn't like is not really developed that well. He's a good character. I wish they did develop his character more. But he helps Furiosa, and he's trying to get her back to her home. There's plenty of Road Warrior action in this. The CGI takes you out a little bit sometimes, but it's still over the top. George Miller, Road Warrior goodness, you know. You've got characters with the names like Rictus Erectus, Smeg, Toe GM, and Scrotus all over the place. I mean, imagine if you know, those were our names right now, you know. Hey, get the new release of Run by Rictus Erectus Restucci, or Goes to Treblinka by Scrotus Baker. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Hey, Scrotus Baker. Anyway,
I like both of those.
the world building George Miller presents is awesome. With Bullet Town and Gas Town only hinted at in Fury Road, they're fleshed out here. You get to see what Bullet Town and Gas Town are. You'll see familiar characters from Fury Road here too. Some new characters, also like the Octoboss, which is really, I thought, a cool character and kind of wasted. Actually, he's got this gigantic octopus-looking kite. It looks like the monster from Nope, from that movie Nope, behind him. And you know, George Miller loves to throw guys in the air, and just his action is crazy, and that's what I love about these movies. I don't want to give away more. There's a very cool Mad Max cameo in it that kind of changes the dynamic of Furiosa and Mad Max's relationship in Fury Road. Look for that. I thought that was really cool. The practical effects are good when they're there, but there's a lot of CGI. You know, these guys wouldn't need so much gasoline if they quit just driving around in circles all willy-nilly, but you know, then we wouldn't have Road Warrior movies. I really enjoyed this. I thought the acting was good. Hemsworth with fake nose I thought he was decent. You know, his wife's in this. She plays the Vivaldi General and Mr. Norton. And she's in a lot of his movies. The guy that plays Scrotus played Slit in Fury Road, Nux's buddy. You'll see a lot of returning characters in Fury Road because this was a prequel. And this takes place 20 years roughly before Fury Road too. So I like this movie. I really enjoyed it. I went into it with no big expectations, and I was thoroughly entertained. I recommend this movie, and I love Mad Max movies. What say you guys?
I as well enjoyed this film. It took some shit at the box office. There were a lot of people that attacked it. You know, said it wasn't a true Mad Max movie. I thought it was great. I thought the way it tied into the Mad Max stuff was really well done, and the way I like Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's a pretty good actress, and she was good in this. She didn't have a lot of lines, but like her mannerisms and her face, her facial expressions were pretty good. I can see why it didn't do as well as the initial Mad Max because it was kind of slow at the beginning. It amps up quickly, but it did slow down. It was slow at the beginning, so I can see how people could just lose interest right away. But as it amped up really well, and there was quite a bit of action, and the acting, like you said, Alan, the acting was great. I thought everybody did a great job. Chris Hemsworth was a total dick. He was just a dumbass. He was a bad leader. He took over the bullet farm, and he's trying to bring all the gangs together and, you know, do what he does, and everything just falls apart because he can't commit, and he can't give the people what he said he was going to give them, or he won't, one of the two. And so then he's like living inside a hell, and he's got all the vehicles and all the guns, but there's a couple of hundred other people that are living there that are just like, okay, we've had enough. And anytime anybody shows up, they attack them and they try to take their stuff. And it leads into those are the people that left Dementus's gang. Those are the people that are out in the wasteland just attacking everyone. Whatever, multiple other clans and stuff like that. So you see how those were built, and that was pretty good. The rest of the movie was okay. I like the car stuff. That was pretty good. But there weren't a lot of, like you said earlier, Alan, there weren't a lot of relationships that were built. There were relationships that were torn apart real fast. Like Furiosa just kind of hates everybody, and you can understand why, because she was kidnapped from the one nice place, in the wasteland, and brought basically into a desert hell. So you can understand why she kind of hates Dementus. And, well, of course, Dementus killed her mother as well. And then she sort of hooks up with Morton Joe's clan, and it just goes on from there. So this one was, it was hard to get into, but once I got into it, I really liked it.
Well, see, we'd watch Fury Road, and then we watched this afterwards. So we were in the mood. Tina was kind of like, and I'd only seen Fury Road once before at the movies. So we were like in the mood, and when we watched it, it was like, all right, we're in this world. And like you said, like you're talking about, the world's put together is really good, but it did have a little bit slow drag, but it was worth it. I just hate seeing Mad Max as an NPC. I want to see him as a main character. That's my only gripe,
Understand.
I don't care if they reboot the original movie, just I want to see Mad Max. Anybody?
I agree with you completely. I'm totally wanting a hardcore Mad Max movie. And the first time I saw Fury Road, I was very disappointed because, he wasn't the main character. So that was a disappointment, but rewatching it, I appreciated it much more. And I think looking back on it, it really isn't a story about Max or even Furiosa. It's, more a story about that little weird kid and his transformation,
Next, yeah.
Now, with Furiosa, I have mixed feelings about it. I felt like the story of the young girl was far more interesting than the story of adult Furiosa. And that was not what I anticipated going into it. And I did not really care for, is it Anya Taylor-Joy? I didn't like her portrayal. I would have much rather have seen Charlize Theron back in that role. And I know that it was an age thing, but let's face it, she looks really good for her age.
Yeah, she does.
Well, they thought about it. They thought about doing that de-aging stuff on her, but then it just wouldn't work.
But why?
I don't know.
Like I said, the story, I think it didn't matter what age she was, because if they had extended the younger years, because the younger years were pretty much half the movie.
More.
Yeah, she didn't show up for an hour.
Yeah, so I think they could have gone away with it, but that's just me. I did like the new guy, the sexy new guy that got killed, Praetorian Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would have liked to have known more about his backstory. Because it went from they didn't talk to he kind of had her back, and then the next thing you know, they're like lovers, and it's like, what the heck? So I kind of have mixed feelings about this movie. And like I said, there were things that I liked about it. There were things I wanted to know more. I think that scene with the mother in the sandstorm was probably the best part of the movie to me. I love that part. It was really good.
You could tell, the way she was.
Yeah.
She wanted a kid back.
Mm-hmm. And didn't care. But I liked that. I liked that when she got shot, she caught on fire and she stopped and she rolled and all that. There was just little details with stuff like that I thought was really, really well done. But overall, I will say that it has me hyped up for a new Mad Max movie, for sure.
I think that might have tanked just because this didn't do as well as they thought it was going to. And honestly, I saw so many commercials for this movie. I thought it was going to explode, and it, like you said, Alan, I think it pretty much doubled the what they put into it, and that's not good enough.
Right.
So
Yeah, and who knows how much the like advertising budget was. They don't always account that. You don't see that in the final numbers. And it's usually like, $100 million, advertising and crap like that,
yeah.
It's outrageous.
Well, and again, this could just be me, but I felt like Anya Taylor-Joy was just miscast. I don't feel like she's a Furiosa type.
I thought she did okay. I can see what you mean, though. She kind of looks. I don't know. She looks wealthy, and that just didn't work for the Furiosa. But for the rest of it was great. I thought she acted the part well. They certainly didn't give her a lot of lines. Charlize Theron had a ton of lines in Fury Road, but Anya Taylor-Joy had very few.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt like like you said, she has an air about her, a grace, and that's what she makes me think of a ballet dancer. She's very willowy and graceful, and that just does not fit in with this character. And I'm going to throw back to where I come from and say I had liked to have seen a character like the sister in Firefly.
No.
She was badass, and I just did not feel like Furiosa was badass.
No, and then at the end, when she almost became like Dementus himself, just seeking revenge.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that, but I don't know. This movie, I saw it 2 weeks ago. I didn't like it. I watched Mad Max last night, Fury Road, and I thought, okay, let me watch this movie again. I liked it even less. They had such a great concept. How did and I thought like, oh, okay, great, because they brought in Immortal Joe. They brought in the two other commanders, the one from Gastown and the one from the Bullet Town. They were bringing them in. They brought back, I think it was Erectus, the mechanic. I'm thinking, oh, this is good. They're going to set up a great background. And I didn't think anything. I thought the acting was bad. Chris Hemsworth was the best, and that was not his best performance. I mean, yeah, I understand he was the religious Jesus type at the beginning with the gob, but it was a good hour before they got into Mad Max action. When the truck was, when they were driving the truck and the guys were coming, and I'm thinking to myself, but there's nothing new here. Okay, sure, they're coming in on those little gliders. Yeah, well, I thought that was much better when you had the guys with the poles diving down people off the truck. The only really good part about that opening scene was the twisty thing in the back.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like,
cool.
But it was like, okay, it's an hour into a Mad Max movie, and now we're finally getting into some Mad Max stuff that doesn't even compare to Fury Road. And then, the only other really good scene I liked was the one when they go to do the negotiations at Gastown and they get ambushed. Was it Gastown or Bullet Town?
It was Bullet Town. Oh, Gastown?
I thought it was Gastown.
I thought it was too, but it was. This movie did not appeal to me. There was so much they could have done. And it dropped the ball so many times. I watched it the second time hoping that, okay, I've seen Mad Max, Fury Road, now I'll get this. And like I said, the second time I liked it even less. If I had seen this movie first, I probably wouldn't have watched Fury Road.
Yeah.
That would have been a shame.
It would have been a shame. But
I agree with what you're saying. I think that for me, one of the largest parts of my love for cinema comes from character development, and I didn't feel like we saw much of that. And the character that I wanted to see more of was Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He stole the scenes he was in. I wanted more of him,
Yeah.
and we just didn't have it.
Yeah.
The world building. I love the world building in this. I love their jargon they use, fang it, guzzling, calling it guzzling. I mean, I love all that stuff because that's just it's like reading a book. All these characters have their own language, and the part where Hemsworth drives up to the Citadel and he thinks he's just gonna ride in there, and all these war boys are like, "Witness me!" and they're dropping down, blowing up his guys, and he sees that he can't win this because these guys are fanatics, for the V8, and so I love that. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fun watch. I mean, I love Mad Max since I was a teenager. Saw it at the drive-in in the dub version of it, which was, if you want to talk about a trash movie, the dub version is a trash movie. It really is, because it's the dub actors are horrible. You got to watch the original Mad Max in the Australian.
Well, Rich,
yeah, well, they
you and
we
I
couldn't
are-
understand what they're saying, which we can't, but still.
We speak Bostonian, Rich. We understand. When I was in Australia, they thought I was Australian because of my accent.
Oh man. You got any more words on this, Scott?
No, this was very disappointing. I was expecting it to be, if not as good, almost as good as Fury Road. And like I said, watching it twice, both times with high expectations, it was just like, why did I waste my time?
Yeah, it had the Interceptor in it, Craig, for a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It even had Mad Max in it for a heartbeat.
Where was he in that? I don't remember seeing Mad Max in it.
Well, okay, I'm going to give it away.
Nobody's going to watch
that scene to where after Furiosa loses her arm, in that ambush, and she gets away, and Praetorian Jack's dead, and she passes out in the desert. He's out there eating his dog food, sees her, and drags her to a healer.
That's right.
Remember that? Yeah. So
that
he didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
And they didn't know they still don't know who, that he saved her. He doesn't know he saved her.
Mm-hmm.
He probably drug her over there to get some maggots for his wound. You know how he is. Give me I reckon you got a bargain. But well, okay, so what do you guys give this movie, Rich?
I'm going to give this a solid 4. I enjoyed it. It's a movie that I've only seen it once. I only watched it the one time. I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Allie?
3.
No. Scott?
1.5.
Ooh.
I'm going to give this a 4. I'm with you, Rich. I'll probably watch it again. Just the world building in it to me was cool.
I agree.
I thought it was smart in a way. Like it was like a book. I mean, the mother's milk, all that stuff was just, it's gross, very gross, but it's neat.
No, it's not.
Max gave it a 2.5, which, he's the expert Mad Max guy here. So, Ben asked if we would do the Umbrella Academy on our show sometime.
Have we done the other ones? Isn't it a series?
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't watched it?
I think we did that one. That was the one with the actor that was in the Wick movies, right?
I don't think so.
Oh,
No.
okay.
This is the one. It's based on a comic graphic novel. They've got
I'm
powers.
sorry. Okay, no, I'm thinking of the Umbrella series based on the Resident Evil.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. It has one more season, Landa. coming out soon, I believe. I don't know. I don't know, Ben. We got a lot of stuff on our plate.
I'm kind of upset. I heard Joe Pickett got canceled.
Joe Pickett was canceled.
Probably. Is it? That was a good show.
Yeah.
I'm going to say before we move on that if you haven't seen Joe Pickett, you owe it to yourself to watch it because it was really good.
You do. You do. And Hadley, for you, that actor that played Praetorian Jack, if you like him, watch the BBC's Three Musketeers. He plays Athos.
Oh, okay.
Or I think it's either Showtime or Max has CB Strike, which is a detective show. He's the main character on it. It was based on books written by the lady that wrote Harry Potter. What's her name?
Rawlings.
Rowling, yeah.
J.K.
Yeah,
Rowling.
Yes. She did under another name.
Harry Potter's.
Right. So if you're interested, Hadley.
I will check it out. Probably the Three Musketeers first, because I'm that kind of girl.
Oh, Musketeers is great. Great. The BBC, it's like 3 or 4 seasons long. It's great. I love those movies or shows. Anyway, I'm sorry, folks. Scott?
I'm doing Mad Max Fury Road. Very brief summary. Opens with Mad Max. He's in the desert. He's taking a break. He's chased by the desert scavengers. Winds up getting wiped out by them. They take him out. Then what do they call the warrior boys?
War Boys.
War Boys. So then the War Boys wind up. They come. They rescue him. Well, rescue. They take his car, and he becomes pretty much he becomes a plasma bag for one of the War Boys.
Nuts.
Thank you. My mouse sucks tonight. So it cuts to Furiosa, Charlize Theron. She's driving she's going from Immortal Joe's place down to Gastown to pick up some gasoline. And halfway there, boom, she takes a left turn and takes off. And she's telling her guys, the warriors, the war boys with her, everything's fine. This is part of the plan. But everyone else realizes she's trying to make a break for it. And Immortal Joe finds out she stole his favorite wives. Because the whole concept is he takes the prettiest women and he breeds with them. And because of all the radiation and that, and because Immortal Joe's a bit weird up himself, half the kids don't work. And any of the kids that are born alive, males that are born alive, become war boys. So everybody goes out. The Gas Town, Bullet Town, Immortal Joe's people go out to track her down. And Mad Max gets mixed up in this because the war boy wants to go on the hunt because he thinks it's going to be his last time because he's dying. So he attaches Mad Max to the front of the car and is driving along with him as his plasma bag. From there on in, that's the first 15 minutes. From there on in, this is one of the most action-packed, intense, riveting movies I've ever seen. I was timing it when I was watching it last night. 15 minutes into the movie, the first truck action scene, the road battle starts. It lasts for almost an hour. Then there's like 15 minutes when, they start to do character development and well, they do character development now, but it's like they do the plot development, and then it's like, okay, they make the decision to go back and take over Immortal Joe's place, and then it's like 15 to 30 minutes of more action. And it was superior action. It wasn't like Furiosa. I mean, they had some of the most insane trucks, like the rolling musical truck with the 4 guys beating on the drums and the musician with the flaming guitar. And that actually was an Australian musician too. He said that thing actually shot flame. That wasn't special effects, and it weighed 125 pounds. But it's just over I mean, if you liked Road Warrior, and that's one of my favorite movies, this is like Road Warrior on daily steroids for a year. It's fantastic. The plot's kind of simple, but this movie wasn't made for an intense plot. This movie was made. Furiosa is trying to get these girls to safety. She's finally going to try to make her way back to the Greenland where she was taken from, and everything goes wrong. Now, I got a couple of minor complaints with this, like with Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick movie. Would have been a great movie if it wasn't called Godzilla. Like Halloween 3. It would have been a great movie if they just called it Season of the Witch. By relating it to the franchise, they lost. I found it hard to get. Now, what Alan said might be a myth, okay, makes it sound a little bit to me. But if that was Mad Max, even putting aside the fact that he's as young 40 years now as he was 40 years ago, he lost the car in the second movie. He shouldn't have had that car. And if you do watch Fury Road, there's a lot of nods to Thunderdome that you'll catch that are also nods to that are also in Furiosa. But other than that, Mad Max played the secondary character. Furiosa was the main character. He came in a close second. But I love the way the relationship between them, not relationship, but at the very beginning, they couldn't stand each other. They would have killed each other in a heartbeat. And then by the end of the movie, they were close confidants. They were working closely together to try to make sure these girls get to safety. I love this movie. I never grow bored watching it. And it's mostly practical. If there's any CGI, don't see. That was the one thing that blew me out of Furiosa. Like the scenes, when you see the truck and then they like do the close in on Dementus, and you can tell
that's really bad. Yeah,
CG. It was like a sci-fi channel movie. That's just like it was like I'm done with it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good movie. Watch it. I bet you even Ash agrees with me. It's one of the best action flicks made in the last 20 years.
I must agree. Constant action almost from the very, very beginning. It was just, if you haven't seen The Road Warrior, shame on you. You should have seen it by now. It came out in the 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
What a fantastic movie. And this is that amped up. It's just constant running. And it's probably the longest chase scene in any movie because it goes for, like Scott said, an hour. It doesn't stop. And the way they made the vehicles and the way they made the people riding on the vehicles, they're going, 50, 60 miles an hour constantly all the time. And there's people crawling all over these vehicles like it's today's Tuesday. I got to go under the truck and fix a hose. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
they're Australians.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. No problem. Spiders under there. Piece of cake. But it was just amazing the way they just had no fear of it. It's like, yeah, this is what I have to do. I have to crawl out there and do it. And then one of the things that I love about this movie is what Scott said with the poles. But not. I mean, the fire poles were great, but the people that are up on the pole and they're just going back and forth like this, and they're reaching down and grabbing people and shooting them with arrows. It was just phenomenal. The whole thing, top to bottom, it was an action movie. Every second of it was action, and even when Scott was talking about the character building, even when that was going on, it was interesting. It kept your interest going the whole time. This is probably top 10 movies for me in the past 20 years. I love this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to see it in the theater, which was like even better. It was like there.
Yeah, that's how
I saw it. Yeah. Hadley, what do you think?
Yeah,
Had
you might
to.
have
Okay,
dogs.
I'm here. I'm here. Um, I think I told y'all that
Furiosa.
this movie was supposed to be made like with Mel Gibson in
Mhm.
2000, and it was supposed to star Sigourney Weaver as Furiosa, and of course that didn't happen. It took this movie together, and first off, I don't know how I feel about Tom Hardy as Mad Max because I love Mel Gibson in the character, but I think they dubbed Tom Hardy's voice too, didn't they?
No.
I don't
I
know. I
think
don't think
so.
so.
I don't think so.
Someone Google and find that. But I don't know. I'd like to see him really play Mad Max because I just don't feel like this really showcased the Mad Max character.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I did like the action. I love a good apocalyptic, I like the dystopian stuff. So the it was just there's so much to unpack with it, but it was good.
I look at Rich's face.
I loved it
Looking
like
like
y'all
maybe
did.
they did dub his.
Yeah. So well,
Looks like they might have.
first thing I saw was they dubbed everything, and now there is no voice editor credited for providing the voice of Max Rockatansky and Fury Road. So I don't. But there's huge amounts of it on Google. Lots and lots of posts.
See, I'd never heard that. Wow.
No, I haven't.
Sensible accent. Yeah,
Well, I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, so like I said, and voices are something that I like. I pay attention. So, like little things like that. Like I said, it's just I don't. It wasn't the Mad Max movie I wanted to see, but I enjoyed it. It's nice to be a part of that world, I guess is how I should look
Yeah.
at it.
Hmm.
Y'all know me. I'm a firm supporter in these types of movies being made, so I'm going to watch them even if they suck. This one did not suck. It was good, but you kind of have to get over it being billed as a Mad Max film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a worthy successor. I think. I was surprised.
I love
He
Tom
did. He
Hardy.
did great.
And
Yeah.
apparently,
He's a good actor.
apparently this movie didn't do well either. It cost 150 million to make. It grossed 154 million in the U.S. and Canada, and only 380 million worldwide.
I wonder if on rentals and stuff like that, it became more and more.
Maybe.
You know.
You know, I mean, there are a lot of movies like Carpenter's The Thing that didn't take off until then.
Yeah. That's a lot of money to put into Furiosa. You know, if the first movie didn't do well. Like you guys, I saw this one at the movies, and that was the last time I saw it. But I loved it. And then I watched it again the other night for the show, and I really, still loved it. And I was able to stop. You're able to pause it and stuff. And when they're doing, I don't know if you guys pay attention to this, but when they're tattooing Tom Hardy's, information on his back, the organic mechanic, like type O, universal donor, it says "Alone Road Warrior" tattooed on there.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit, that is so cool. Just little shit like that was cool, because I didn't catch that at the movies,
No, I didn't either.
see that.
Well, I
when
have
we
an
watched
interesting tidbit for y'all.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, let me see. George Miller had the Vagina Monologues writer as a consultant on this film.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, she gave the wives especially, but the whole cast some reality checks about violence on women in war zones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
What?
that's what somebody had said is that they think that George Miller is a feminist and he made a feminist action film, and that's what Mad Max Fury Road is, which I thought was not the point, but if it was, I missed it. But it was very interesting, and it was a big, powerful point about the way that these women were treated.
Yeah. And I think it was very, one of the reasons I liked it was the main Furiosa was a badass. She was Ripley. She was Alice. I mean, the crap she went through in this movie. You know, I loved her in this.
Hey, Bethany.
Hi, Bethany.
Yeah, this movie won 6 Academy Awards. 6 Academy Awards. So when I was editing, George Miller's wife edited this, but 6 Academy Awards. So for a movie like this, that's a big deal. It's a Mad Max movie. I mean, you have Elvis's daughter, Lenny Kravitz's daughter in this as the girls that are being taken away. Or not Elvis's daughter, Elvis's granddaughter.
No.
You have the dude playing Nux from the X-Men, and actually he played side by side with Anya Taylor-Joy in The Menu.
Did you know that Jeremy Renner was nearly cast as Max?
Who?
He'd be okay.
No.
Jeremy Renner?
Hawkeye.
Okay.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have been bad.
He'd be okay. You got to watch how fast you say Hawkeye, but yeah, I mean, he'd be okay. It's just they need to make a Mad Max movie. They really do. And I don't care if you go back and you reboot it to the 1979 original or whatever it was. Because you could make a very cool story, revenge story that way. Show the world falling apart, the Main Force Police, the Bronze, all that. I think you could go back and do that. That would be awesome to me. I don't need a wasteland story again with Mad Max. Let's start at the beginning again. And, have a cool goose. I don't know. I love the whole saga. I think Fury Road is number 3 in those movies, with Furiosa after that, and then Thunderdome. And Thunderdome, the script for Thunderdome wasn't a Mad Max movie. It was another movie that we're going to make. And they adapted it. Yeah, they adapted it to Thunderdome. That's why it's so odd. That's why it's such an odd movie compared to the other 2 movies. Yeah. But Fury Road, I love
the original Mad Max. It was too, after the initial chase scene, it was like boring until the very end.
Yeah, but it's canon. But it's canon. You know what I mean? It's canon. So you could make it so much better nowadays. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You can make so much more action in it. That's why I wouldn't mind if they rebooted it. Because they would make it better. It's just
it's a
I love it
classic,
because
though.
it's canon.
And reboot it with Tom Hardy.
With what?
Well, so I have another Tom Hardy. I have a Tom Hardy tidbit of info for y'all.
Okay.
Tom Hardy had a dog as a boy that he named Max after the character Max in The Road Warrior.
Oh.
And it died shortly before the movie where he was cast as Mad Max. Everything comes full circle. But I love me some Tom Hardy.
Well, Hemsworth, he was like, thrilled to be cast in this because I guess to Australians, Mad Max is like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their movies. And I can see that, because over here, I was a teenager when I saw the first Mad Max movie. I thought I love that movie, but like you said, Scott, it's original Mad Max is kind of boring, except for the action scenes are great. And Max Rockatansky is a great character, but then the Road Warrior just kicks ass,
Well,
that movie
Alan,
just kicked ass.
I could be wrong, but I think that you're the one who made me watch the original Road Warrior.
Yeah.
And I will say that it's probably my favorite out of all of them.
Oh,
it kicks ass. It kicks ass.
You know what I loved about the Road Warrior? The Road Warrior, when Humongous opens up the crate to get out the gun, and there's like a picture of a World War I British soldier with a young woman, and there's an iron cross. It's like, I want to know the backstory to that.
That's a good detail.
Yeah.
And one thing he uses in the opening credits of all his Mad Max movies is that nuclear test, like in Yucca Flat, where it shows the trees going.
Yeah.
That's here in Nevada, actually. But yeah, he uses that in all the movies, that scene, when they're talking about the apocalypse, Armageddon, or whatever you want to call it, that happened
That's what
there.
you think of. When you think of an explosion like that, you think of the trees just going.
Yeah.
The blast wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig's
That's
got
a
a
good
good
one.
one. The humongous story. Though
I bet he
I
bet he wants
always
the humongous
kind of
story.
thought that Immortan Joe was like a takeoff of humongous.
Yeah, he's not though, because I mean he is, but he's not humongous. People were thinking he was humongous, but Miller's came out and said
No,
no.
he's not.
Yeah, he's not humongous.
All right, so what do
Yeah.
y'all give
And
it? Did we already rate it?
5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 as well. I think it was great.
All right, I was going to give it a 4.9, but I'm going to go with you guys 5.
Boss.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
give it a
boss.
4.
Okay.
Witness me. That scene where Nux dies. Witness me. That was good. He finally found love with Elvis's
Yeah.
granddaughter, and
Yes. Oh, was that Elvis's granddaughter?
yeah, she's in that alligator movie where she's trapped in a house and there's an alligator in the basement trying to save her dad.
Oh, right.
That movie terrified me.
We reviewed that movie.
Yeah,
We did. It was what snapped me out of my pandemic panic, I guess. The pandemic panic I was in was like watching that, and I was like, it could be worse. There could be an alligator trying to eat me.
Heath Ledger might have made a good man. I don't know. I don't know. He's a good
No,
actor. He was a great actor.
See, I don't think he would have.
He's Australian, wasn't he?
But I
Yeah,
can't
he's
picture
got the
him-
accent.
Now, I can picture Heath Ledger being one of the evil characters, doing a Dementus type character.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one scene I love from Furiosa, and I think Rich touched on it when I was getting the thing. I was thinking to myself, all these giant, big ass vehicles using more gas like in an afternoon than my car uses in like 5 years.
Well, that's what I said. If they stopped driving, they'd have plenty of fuel. But no,
No, or even if they just drove in like small little pickups and motorcycles, but no, they're driving these
Mopeds.
trucks.
Mopeds with those big sticks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's
we've got a few minutes left. Let's hit House of Dragons.
Ooh,
Which I have not caught up.
It's what I'm here
episode.
for.
Good episode tonight. Good episode.
Go
Hey,
ahead, boss.
Okay, so House of Dragons this week. It was the first dragon battle we have seen since Game of Thrones. It did not. It did not let me down. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but I'm going to say if you're not watching this show, you really need to. I don't think you can compare it to Game of Thrones anymore. I think it stands alone. It is a very different story, but I don't know. A lot of political intrigue, though. A lot of I don't know. Rich Restucci, you say something.
Well, wasn't there a lot of political intrigue in Game of Thrones?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Just,
not everybody had dragons, Scott. Now both sides are fighting. They've got dragons.
So this is
Game
like
of Thrones, it was zombies. So.
so now it's like going from World War II to the Cold War.
Yeah.
This episode pissed me
Oh.
off. And not because it was a bad episode. It wasn't. It was great. It was just, I hate poor tactical decisions. I hate them. And one of the characters in this episode makes a ridiculous decision, an absolutely, utterly ridiculous decision, to the point where it could actually cost them the war. I can't really go into what it is, and if you haven't seen it, but the battle's over. It's done. The person is on their way out of the battle, and then they're like, you know what? I'm just going to turn around and make sure everything's, and then just bad things happen. So it was completely unnecessary. The rest of the episode, you get a lot of dragons in this episode. You're going to see 3 dragons in this episode, and it's really, really cool. A lot of fighting as well. A lot of people getting cooked by dragon fire. Dragon battle. So it's definitely worth watching it. But like I said, and the thing is, I could see it coming 100 miles away. At the moment someone says something like that person's dead,
It did The Walking Dead. They
Yeah.
did what The Walking Dead does.
The convenient dead,
First-
exactly.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I hear what you're saying, and I guess I am going to have some spoilers because I feel like I need to voice this. The person who, in their dragon, who are sadly no longer RIP, two of my favorite characters on the show, RIP. Anyway, it was just, she could have taken the fight back to Dragonstone, and then Dragonstone, there would have been a lot of loss of life on the black side.
Yeah.
So she stayed in it and sacrificed herself to prevent that from happening because they were going to follow her. It was a trap. They set that trap up to kill a dragon, and that's what they were going to do. Yes, Bethany, my friend called me and she said, I don't care about the people. I'm sitting here crying over the dragons. So
And
that's
you know,
kind of how I felt.
Aemon, you don't humiliate him. He doesn't take humiliation very well.
Not
You
since
know.
that whole flying pigs comment.
Yep. And his brother, is just a petulant child. That's what he is. And he did the action of a petulant child.
And I did not
there's
like
major
him until I
repercussions.
saw the interaction with him and the dragon. You know? And it's
Well-
like, well, his dragon loves him. He must
Oh,
be
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but then he likes to put egg on people's face. So
Yeah, but
Love
Hitler's
that.
dog
Yeah.
loved Hitler. So
Yeah.
I love that. That joke never gets old until people forget what the guy's name is on the show. Anyway, good episode.
So
it was
which-
a good episode.
which
Sad.
episode was this one? What number?
4, I think.
4.
What number?
I might
You've
try
got
to
to get caught up.
I might try to get this weekend's gonna suck though. I got a convention all weekend.
You and your selling stuff,
I
Oh,
know.
there you
Yeah.
meeting people,
Yeah.
you and that stuff. You need to watch it though, Scott. Well, I don't want to say you need to watch it, but you should watch it.
You would
It's
enjoy it,
good.
Scott. I really think you would.
I know.
Yeah.
I should, but I got hooked on some old TV horror movies this week. So
That's easy to do. What's up with Damon? With Damon though? What's going on with Damon?
Little
He's having some
crazy.
issues.
Well, it's the weirwood trees.
Mhm.
You know, they
That's
killed the
scary.
weirwood trees to build that place, and that's why it's cursed.
There's
And then
bed-
the bed he's sleeping in is made from the weirwood trees that they mowed down. And the weirwood trees supposedly held the souls of people, of magical people
you-
at that. So
And it's keeping him from doing anything. You know, he's wasting all this time while the other army's doing stuff, you know, moving forward. Christian Cole, every episode he becomes more of an asshole. I mean, it's
I
like
just
this
don't
guy's an
even talk
asshole,
about
and
that.
then he becomes more of an every episode, more of an asshole. You know, it's like they got to kill this guy somehow. You know, at least Jamie
he's
Lannister had a
gonna
redeeming quality to him. This guy
I think
has
he's gonna
no
live.
redeeming quality.
So let me
No.
ask
And
you,
the pregnancy of the queen.
Oh, with the creepy guy, with the creepy foot fetish guy
Yeah, foot fetish guy. Yeah.
coming in, discovering all her secrets. I was like, you know,
Yeah.
she was hating. She said, "Come on in."
Yeah.
do I
Don't mind
this-
that jar of you know, stuff, you know, that you know
That I
what it is.
conveniently left out for you to discover.
do
Yeah,
I need
well,
to
I'm
see the
holding my
first season
stomach.
to understand the second?
Say
You
that again.
do. You do because there's so much intrigue, and
All right.
I think you do.
Maybe
'cause
I'll
you might
try
get-
to maybe I'll try to watch it the next week.
Do yourself a favor and bring a pen and a piece of paper, because keeping track of the characters is extremely difficult. There are probably 50 characters in the show, and they have names like Aemon, Aegon, Daemon, Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra. It's difficult to.
So it's like The Walking Dead as it got like into 9th season. There were 4,000 characters in it. You forgot who they were.
Then you have
I think
Christian
you'll
Cole.
remember.
Yeah.
Christian Cole, you'll remember him. He's the asshole.
But you need to watch both seasons just to get yourself.
He's
you
a
know,
hypocritical
what's going on.
SOB, is what I think. But anyway, we're at the top of the hour, kids, so we're going to be
May I
signing
just-
off.
May I just jump in with one thing? Shelley Duvall passed away today.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
bad.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was only
Rest in peace,
75.
Shelley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my sister
She's
told
young.
me the kid that was the young son in Alf passed away today, but I haven't seen anything on it on the media.
I have no idea who
It's a
that
shame.
was.
Yeah. I
All right,
love
kids. Well, I've got a new outro, so I'm going to go ahead and play it while we are signing off, and we will see y'all next week.
Next
All right.
week.
Thanks for
All
joining
right,
us.
folks, that's it for the Wyrd Insights for tonight. And on behalf of the Wyrd Kids, I'd like to give a big shout out to our supporters, Mike Lewis and Landis Saldana, for helping us keep the lights on. You kids help make the strangest sustainable. And let's not forget those incredible partners over at Metaphysical Mississippi, Nightcallers Production, Stephen Landry, Virtual Design, Writing, and Filmmaking, author Sylvester Barzy, covers by Christian, and Thunder Game Studios. You guys keep the weird world spinning on its axis. And if you're feeling those weird vibes and you want to help us keep the weird alive, head over to our Patreon page and become a patron. You can find out more at www.weirdrealities.net, or you can join us via Linktree at linktr.ee/weirdrealities, and that is weird with a Y. If you're thinking about a partnership, be sure and reach out to us at weirdrealities@gmail.com. And also, until next time, stay weird.